For those of you who looked at it, you know our topic is leading political voices of the next generation of leaders. So you're thought leaders within your individual, within your generation, a generation that's much younger than mine. What would you like the people of your generation to know moving forward? Ana, let's start with you.
Well, I think that my generation is certainly pretty passionate about changing things, certainly changing the way that they work and live. We're seeing that play out currently with the pandemic and the labor shortage that's taking place. And I'd like them to know that we don't really need to reinvent the wheel. We've seen strategies and solutions that have worked in the past. This country has gone through many terrible things in its history. It's a very short history, you know, relative to other countries. And despite all of those awful things that have happened, things like the Great Depression, for instance, the country was still able to pull through. And I would suggest looking to history at the solutions that worked, specifically a strong labor movement, in order to, you know, really rework the power dynamic that we're seeing right now in the workplace. I think a lot of the reasoning for not going back to the jobs that workers were previously working in prior to the pandemic has to do with the fact that, hey, you know, we've been staying home during the lockdown. Now we realize that spending time with our family, having a little free time for ourselves, being able to go outdoors and do recreational things, that's important to us. So they're reimagining what their lives could be like if they take a little bit of power back in the workplace. And I think that that's definitely possible. They just got to fight for it. They got to organize. They got to work together and not get distracted by manufactured culture wars that we see play out in the media every day.
Ben, how about folks?
So she did it. I think it was a pretty, you know, it said, what's the most important thing to your generation? And Ana starts off with, you know, the workforce, jobs. We need more time. Look what happened during the pandemic. You know, people aren't going back to the workforce because they're just discovering now all of a sudden that they've got all this time to spend with their family. Remember Nancy Pelosi saying, hey, yeah, you know, why don't you just become artists, become dreamers, right? Go out there and paint. You know, you don't need a job. We'll give you universal basic income. My question to Ana would have been, I mean, the question is, well, who created this situation? It was the government. And then she says people aren't going back to their jobs right now, okay, or they're frustrated. Or they need more. Well, because there are no jobs to go back to for some of them. Government was the one that closed down businesses, closed down schools, closed down sections of the economy. Just literally, okay, did irreparable damage to so many people, so many business, so many people's lives, their dreams completely shattered. So you think that's the thing that's important in generation? Then she says, oh, we need tried and true strategies that worked in the past. Use those. Oh, you mean like the energy independence that was done under President Trump in his 4 years? The amount of jobs that were created, good paying, high paying jobs, low inflation, low energy costs, those kind of things. I think those are important for a generation, if you think about it, for any generation. And then she said, oh, my generation is passionate. Almost all generations are passionate, folks. They all are. So I thought that was a very, very weak answer, a typical progressive answer that you get from. Anyways, let's see what Ben Shapiro has to say.
Folks on your side.
So, I mean, I think that for folks on my side, I sort of have the same message for everybody on all sides, which is that the world did not begin spinning when you were born. And there's a great amount of wisdom, accumulated wisdom, that has built up over literally thousands of years, in the United States over hundreds of years, that is well worth going back to as a source of both inspiration and understanding of exactly why the system is supposed to work in a particular way. And that requires a certain understanding of human nature, of human beings, as both capable of amazing things, but also as inherently flawed and ambitious, and why you need a governmental system that is capable of checking ambition with ambition, checks and balances, subsidiarity, the belief in a federalist system that allows for experimentation on a local level without attempting to cram one-size-fits-all solutions on everybody from the federal level. But that begins with reading history. It does begin with understanding some basic philosophies about how the United States works, because if it feels like the country is coming apart, and it really does feel like that more and more every day, that is because I think that there is a failure to agree on some of the central bases for the country. So we're either going to have to clarify where the disagreements are, or we're going to be in serious trouble as a country.
I love the answer.
So Concise, precise, it was there. Ben Shapiro, he says, look, there are problems, there are divisions in this country, but they're being formed by what? It's power politics, it's power dynamics. He's basically saying that we have to come to agree on certain aspects of our society, certain aspects of how government is going to work. We have to have some commonality. I mean, can we all agree that the flag is part of the United States of America? That it is a symbol of freedom, of liberty? If we can't agree on that, wow, we got a problem. We have to agree on certain things. How does government work? We can argue and we can discuss and we can have, different opinions on what we're going to do policy-wise or whatever, but there's certain things that have to be common between people. And that's what basically Ben is saying. And that's not there right now because people are deciding to do all kinds of things. They're going way too far to the left. They're not taking a look at the fundamentals of how this country was formed, on Judeo-Christian philosophy, Judeo-Christian principles. And if you can't go back to those, what are you doing then? You're just adding different things, just keep adding stuff, changing things that for generations we've known, like men are men, women are women, like there's only two genders, there's only two sexes. You want to change that thing? You want to change bathroom facilities now? You want to change shower facilities now? You want to have men competing in women's sports? Is there nothing that we can basically, if we want to talk to what was, traditional, that's what Ben is talking about. I give the edge in this one here basically to Ben Shapiro, because at least he talked about that what, in terms of, the thing that you want to espouse to your generation is that we need some type of starting point where we have commonality, and then we build from there. So I hope you guys enjoyed this first part here. I'm going to put more of these out there with the different questions that were there during the debate, and we'll go through them all, folks. Appreciate you taking the time to watch. You've been watching the Dr. Nasir Shaikh Show. I've been your guest host. My name is Dr. Nasir. Like, share, and follow us. Hit that notification bell. I'll leave you with my final thought, which is, when you're right, and when you're left, you're wrong. We'll see you again next time, folks. Take care and stay safe.